Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on KCBQ 1170. You can tune into us every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. iHeartRadio app, 1170 a.m. or whisselwednesdays.com. Joined as always in studio by my co-host, Mr. Jason Hall with Team Home Loans and Synergy One Lending. We got Dmitriy Bgatov, financial advisor, and Dave Moore with Farmers Insurance. And before the break, we were kind of teasing some of the things that people need to look out for when it comes to this whole insurance world, Dave. I don't know about you, the listener out there, but I know me personally, insurance confuses the heck out of me.
Yeah, it confuses a lot of people. And, in today's world of touch and click, for the guy that's not technically savvy,
as he smiles and looks at me, Jason over here.
A computer. The role of an advisor has actually been taken out of the insurance market. And so I find with a lot of clients that come to me, they're grossly underinsured. A lot of times insurance is viewed as a commodity, like coffee and beans. It's out there. People just see the cost, but they're not.
And we all want the lowest monthly payment.
The lowest monthly payment, but they're not really looking at the total picture. Nothing is more unnerving than at a time of an accident to get a pittance from a law firm saying that you're being sued for $50,000 to $100,000 over your insurance limits. So I tell people this time and time again. At the point of sale, the most important thing is price. But I can tell you at the point of claim, the most important thing is coverage. Price goes right out the window. So there's little things that you can do when meeting with an advisor to use your insurance dollar in the best way, one of which is deductibles. People tend to have they're sold the idea that a lower deductible is better. But the problem with that is that you file a small claim, you're going to pay for that small claim typically in a 3 to 5 year period, so you're going to pay much higher than a $250 or $500 deductible.
So over the life of your insurance, you're saying they'll crank your insurance up. Is that kind of what you're referring to, Dave?
Yeah. Well, what I do is I'll sit down and I do kind of in Farmers we have what's called walls and castles, where we kind of help the client build a wall to protect their assets. So
you are really a nerd. Walls and castles?
Yeah, I know. Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm down in the basement with my my 8-sided die rolling it. So
you guys remember that, right? You and I are close in age.
Yeah, we are.
I remember when Dungeon Jaggers first came out in the 70s, right? Early 80s. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But not to sidetrack. Let's get back to insurance. Again, you're listening to KCBQ 1170 AM, and we've got Dave, the insurance man with Farmers. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. So, basically what you want to do is to look at the total dollar amount to protect your assets. And so what I do when I meet with people is I advise them, you don't really have to pay much more in premium. If you have a more realistic deductible to where you would to what would be worth to file a claim to you, you can sometimes more than double your liability coverage with no increase in premium. A lot of times I find I save people money on their insurance. So for me personally, that's really what I do is I take the advisory role and I help my clients to protect their assets. I understand that the almighty dollar is extremely important, but if you can build enough value and you just make slight adjustments, you really don't have to pay a lot more for getting more coverage.
All right, let's talk about insurance payments, man. I'm just adding in my head, I'm probably somewhere north of $30,000 a year I pay for my insurances. And that's auto, life, dental, health, home. North of $30,000. When and if, and is there anything on there like an umbrella policy that would cover all those, or what is an umbrella policy? I'm just shooting. I know that we didn't even talk about this, but I'm just thinking. I mean, at some point, $30,000 more. That's over $2,500 a month. I mean, that's a lot of money that I pay.
Well, what you want to do, once again, and not to beat a dead horse.
I guess we throw business insurance in there. I got all kinds.
You want to go back to deductible. I find people all the time. I will ask them, listen. If you hit something on your auto and you had a $500 deductible, and I told you, okay, for the next, you can pay your $500 and fix $1,500 in damage, but for the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to pay about $3,000 to $4,000 in increased premium for that. Would you rather pay the $1,500?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of times, insurance companies that are out there will try to talk a client into a lower deductible, saying, hey, you don't want to have to pay a $1,500 deductible if something happens, right? You just want to pay $5, right?
Yeah, sure I do.
Yeah. And then so what happens is that encourages you to file the claim, which encourages you to get a rate increase, which encourages you to pay more money. So that's kind of that's what you really want to look at. As far as
that's crazy.
That stuff's crazy, right, Dave?
It is crazy.
It is crazy.
So umbrella policy, umbrella is probably one of the best insurance products out there. One of the most affordable products. You know, for the cost of a pizza, you can add an extra $1 million to $2 million in coverage to cover your home and your auto, motorcycles, RVs.
So what's an umbrella really going to cover? I mean, is it truly everything, or what am I limited to?
It's typically not going to cover health insurance.
Okay.
If you have a business umbrella, it's going to cover business products. If you have a personal umbrella, it's going to cover personal products like your auto, property rentals, home.
And is it an additional to that stuff I have, or
it's an
can
additional
it be
to the
replaced?
primary limits that you're already carrying.
Okay.
So if you've got, you know, $250,000, $500,000 in liability on your personal auto, for, you know, $20 a month, you can add $1 million umbrella. Now you've got $1.5 million. So say you're driving down the road, it's not even your fault. You hydroplane, you smack into someone. And you come back and you have a judgment against you for, you know, $1 million. You're walking away scot-free for, you know, the cost of a pizza.
Right.
So
no, I get that. You know, I'm all about insurance. That's why I pay $30,000 plus a year. But I want to make sure I'm doing it smart. And that's why I was asking about the umbrella.
Well,
and that's
see,
what you're saying.
That's what you need to do. Is you said, I want to make sure I'm doing it smart. So how do you do that? Do you rely on yourself, or do you talk to an advisor?
Not. Yeah.
And that going back to what we were talking in the beginning of the show, is that's what I find is lacking in today's market, is the actual advisory role.
Right. I see a lot of people, most of the commercials you see on TV, they're all driving you to a website.
Yeah, or name your price. This is how much do you want to spend, and we'll give you the coverage for what you want to spend.
Right. And I mean, I know as a consumer, when an insurance person, let's just say auto, for example, they're like, oh, do you want 1530 or 5100? I have no freaking clue what in the world they're talking about when they say 1530 or 50-100.
I'll give you a quick example, so you'll never, to answer that, it'll clear up any confusion. I'm a visual person, so I'm going to say, okay, so imagine you're driving down the road and you hydroplane, you smack into a minivan. The lady gets out of the car, she's holding her neck, she's screaming at you, I'm gonna sue you. So basically, like 1530.
I'm now scared, man.
Now
just
you are.
To Dave. I'm like getting worried.
Well, Jason, we live in San Diego, and it rains like 5 days a year.
That's exactly
so we're not
why.
hydroplaning.
No, but I have hydroplaned, and it's just scary. It does happen here in San Diego, Kyle and Dave and Dmitry. I mean, here's what happens: people think you can drive 90 every day, 365 days, because we do live in probably the most beautiful area in the world, and we love it. However, I have hydroplaned where I've lost control on the freeway. I remember like it was yesterday. It was probably 15, 20 years ago. It is the scariest thing. I did a couple 360s. I ended up looking at the oncoming traffic on the freeway on 94 coming at me. I stuck the car back in first gear. It was a 5-speed. I flipped a quick 180, because I knew I could do that, and I went on. But this is real life. So that's why we have people like you come on. Again, you're listening to 1170 AM KCBQ. And we have a special guest. We've got Dave with Farmers Insurance. And Dave's the insurance guy, and he's bringing us real-life stories. So sorry to interrupt. But again, once you hydroplane and the gal's coming to you and she's all upset.
Yeah, so basically the California minimum is 1530. So what that basically means is that anything over 15,000, you're writing the check for. So people say, well, I don't get it. Why is it 30? That's what we call max aggregate. That means that's the total for the accident. So say your husband gets out of the car. He's holding his neck and he's screaming at you that he's going to sue you as well. That insurance company will pay out $15,000 for him, but they're not going to pay any more than $30,000.
That's where they max that 30.
That's where they're going to max the 30.
What if there's like 5 cars? Is it aggregate per car, or is it aggregate for the accident?
It's aggregate for the accident. That's the most that they're gonna pay out. So what happens is that people will say, I'll ask people, what type of coverage do you have on your auto? Oh, I have full coverage. Well, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, what's the definition of full coverage to you?
You're carrying a $500 deductible and you have 1530. Okay, that's not going to do anything for you if you own a home and you've got some assets, to speak of. You need to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to $1 million or $2 million with an umbrella. So it's really coaching people but it does get confusing. And
Kyle, you have an umbrella, right?
Heck yeah.
All right, man. I'm getting an umbrella. We got.
We're not talking about the one in your car in the trunk
Yeah.
that was used 3 years ago.
One of the most savvy investors I ever encountered in my real estate career was giving me advice. I love to learn from people, and this guy owned more properties than I could ever even fathom owning. You know, $10 million beach house paid in cash, you know, just crazy like that. And he's like, look, you're young. I know you're hustling, but the best advice I could possibly give you is have an umbrella policy. It's one of the least expensive and most underutilized insurance offerings available.
So if I'm listening right now, we want to reach out at 619-663-7355. Did I hit that number right?
Good job,
He's
Jason.
looking at me. All right, man.
Dang.
A little under the weather.
So if you want to connect with Dave at Farmers Insurance, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. We'd love to connect you with Dave. He can really be that person that steps in for you and helps advise you on what you need to be doing when it comes to your insurance. Don't assume this random person you called on the phone on an 800 number that may or may not have a foreign accent knows what they're actually talking about, or this website you clicked on it, they're really advising you what's best. You need a real person to sit down with you, whether it's on the phone or sit down with you in person. Go through everything that you've got going on in your life, whether you own property, own cars, your health benefits. I mean, everything that you've got going on in your life. You want somebody who can sit down and analyze your entire picture, analyze your lifestyle, your financial situation, and put a plan together for you when it comes to your insurance needs to, one, make sure that you're protected the right way that's going to suit you and your lifestyle and your finances, but two, do it at the best cost for you as well. And a lot of these other guys, they don't care about that. They're just trying to churn and burn as many policies as they can.
It's all transactional.
And that's the thing is I tell people I'm in this for the long haul. I don't want to be someone's insurance agent.
How long have you done it, Dave?
Done for over 6 years.
Okay, over 6 years.
Over 6 years, and I was one of the guys that got hit hard by the recession, and I was with the company for 10 years. Owner flew out from Baltimore and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, we love you, but we got to let you go. We're closing down."
Wow.
So I went home to my wife. It was the worst day of my life, and I said, "At that point,
let's hope it never gets worse." Right,
yeah, if Rivers leaves, it might be it might be the second day.
How about Rivers or
Go Chargers, go?
What if the Chargers were leaving? That would be great. You think? I mean, I'd be upset if Rivers left, but if the Chargers left,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I agree with you, but
I can't see us holding hand in hand in Carson with the Raiders, and I don't know how.
I've got an idea coming up later. I'll tell you about that.
But to add a little bit, I'd like to say
this is Dmitriy, our financial planner in studio. Go ahead, Dmitriy.
Yeah, you can tell by my fluent English accent, right? But one thing I'd like to, just for what it's worth, I have a few hundred households that I work with in terms of helping them managing their money. And anytime somebody asks, "Hey, do you know somebody who can work with a good insurance person?" Everyone that I've sent over to introduce Dave to, and that they've super happy, very thrilled, very happy because he's very personal and he's very direct and honest and transparent. And I think that's what a lot of people neglect or do not experience, is having someone who can come in and give him an honest
valuation and give them
I'll give you the $50 later, Dmitry.
I appreciate that.
See, I didn't even know you guys knew each other. I showed up here in studio. You guys were already sitting in your seats. But so you guys know each other. And just so our listeners understand, I'm always the biggest guy in studio, at least weight-wise, but never height-wise, because Kyle's a little taller. I'm only 6 foot, but I was 260 down to 227-ish. But Dmitry, how big are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3".
6'1".
6'1". All right.
Short guy today.
And I'm the short guy again. But now I'm not the biggest guy, it looks like. But Dave, you were saying at one of the break. Well, Dave said during the break, and I know we're getting ready to go to break, but Dave said during the break you lost 100 and how many pounds?
128 pounds.
Do you mind me asking what you weigh right now?
Yeah, I know. I weigh 258.
All right, and 100. So you were pushing close to 400.
Yeah, correct.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that is awesome. How long ago did you lose that weight?
It was October of last year to now.
Nice.
Good job, man.
So I have my daughter's going to be born on the 4th of July here. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Had to get serious about my weight, my life, and.
By the way, that's how patriotic he is. He planned July 4th.
Well, let's see if she comes on July 4th.
Yeah,
I know we're getting ready to go to
exactly.
break. Again, you're listening to 1170 a.m. The Answer with KCBQ. We've got a great guest studio Kyle, you want to hit their names real quick? And I know we got who coming
Definitely.
up
So if
next.
you want to connect with Dave at Farmers Insurance, shoot us a text or give us a call, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-735. We will get you connected. When we get back, we're going to talk to Dmitriy Bgatov, financial advisor, about what they can do for you on the financial side of things. We got your insurance covered. Now it's time to get your finances covered. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on KCBQ 1170.